who's actually getting the most out of a single-pedestal office desk, who can walk away without it, and does the price make sense for someone who just needs a solid place to put a laptop and a few papers? Those are the 3 questions I keep hearing when people stand in front of a showroom floor or scroll through endless Amazon listings. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The HON10700 series single-pedestal desk sits right in the middle of that conversation, and I spent a good chunk of this week setting it up in my home office, swapping it into a co-working space, and even testing it in a small studio apartment to see how it behaves when space is at a premium. First off, let's talk about who should really consider this desk. If you're a remote worker who needs a dedicated workstation but doesn't have a whole room to dedicate, the single-pedestal footprint is a win. The design puts the bulk of the support in one column, leaving the rest of the floor open for a chair, a filing cabinet, or even a standing mat if you like to alternate. That also makes it a decent pick for people who share a room with a partner or a roommate. There's less visual clutter, and you can slide the desk against a wall without a massive frame blocking the path. On the flip side, anyone who runs a dual-monitor rig with large 27-inch screens side by side might feel cramped. The single column can start to wobble when you push the work surface far out to the edge. If you need a massive drafting surface, a L-shaped or a heavy-duty bench-style desk would serve you better. Now, about the price. The HON brand is known for commercial-grade furniture that usually lands in the mid to high price range. This particular model is priced lower than many of its office floor siblings, which makes it tempting for budget-conscious buyers. The question is whether you're paying for actual durability or just the HON name. After assembling the desk from the flat pack, which took about 45 minutes with the included instructions, the first thing I noticed was how tight the joints felt. The steel column and the particle board top locked together with a series of cam bolts that don't loosen over a week of daily use, so you're not paying for a flimsy wobble that you'll have to tighten every month. That level of stability at this price point is a solid indicator that the value proposition holds up. Let's walk through a typical day using this desk in a home office. I start my morning with a laptop, a notebook, and a coffee mug. The top surface is smooth enough that the mouse glides without any added pad, and there's a modest lip at the front that keeps the mug from sliding off when I reach for a pen. The cable management groove underneath the desktop is shallow but useful. My charger, Ethernet cable, and a small power strip fit neatly without looking like a tangled mess. I did notice that the groove isn't deep enough for thicker bundles, so if you have a lot of peripherals you'll either need a separate cable organizer or you'll have to run a few cords along the floor, which can be an eyesore. A hidden trade-off shows up when you try to adjust the height. The desk doesn't have a motorized lift, it's a fixed height piece, which keeps the cost down but means you have to be comfortable with the 29-inch standard. For most people this works fine, but anyone who is particularly tall or short might find themselves hunching or stretching to reach the keyboard. I tested it with my 5-foot 10-inch frame, and the ergonomics were acceptable, but my friend who is 62 inches tall complained that the monitor had to be perched on a riser to avoid a neck strain. If you need a height-adjustable workstation, you'll need to look elsewhere. One practical strength that stands out is the desk's footprint. Because the support is centralized, you can place the desk against a wall and still have room to pull the chair out without hitting a bulky frame. In the studio apartment I tried it in, I was able to keep a compact sofa 2 feet away and still have a clear path for the door. That spatial efficiency is something you don't get with many other office desks that spread their legs wide. Additionally, the finish on the top panel is a low-gloss veneer that resists fingerprints better than a high-shine surface. After weeks of daily coffee spills and a few accidental bumps, the desk still looks fresh, which is a small but pleasant win for anyone who cares about aesthetics. On the downside, the single-pedestal design can create a slight imbalance when you load one side heavily. I placed a stack of printer paper and a small desktop scanner on the right edge, and the whole thing leaned just enough that the column began to flex. It didn't tip over, but you could feel a little flex that might be disconcerting for someone who stores heavier items like books or a desktop CPU on the surface. The